Hi fellas, this is Chemaddicts again to the solution. Welcome back to another video tutorial. Well fellas, today we're gonna solve this question. Okay, so let us read the question. The question says bromate 5 ions, this peculiar thing, oxidize bromide ions Br minus in the presence of dilute acid H plus as shown in the equation below. Okay, so this is the bromate. Oops. This is the bromate, bromide, H plus, bromine, water. Okay. So three experiments were carried out by using different initial concentration of three reactants. That's cool. Three experiments were carried out and using different initial concentrations of the three reactants. The initial rate of reaction was calculated for each experiment. So the initial rate is also given. That's totally fine. That's cool. The results are shown in the table below. Okay, so the results are given in the following table. Okay, so this is the experiment number 1 2 3. This is bromate, bromate 5. This is bromide. This is the concentration of bromate 5, and this is the concentration of bromide. This is the concentration for H plus ion, and this is the initial rate equation. Okay, so let's see what does this question say. This reaction is first order reaction. This reaction is first order reaction with respect to bromate 5 state with reasons including appropriate numbers, the order of reaction with respect to first H plus ion, then bromide. Okay, so H plus ion and bromide. So this is the information is given. If we have noticed, we can see that the total mark for this question is 5 marks. Okay, so this is 5 marks question. Well, that's fine, that's totally fine. So here at first let us get familiar to some terms of the rate, some terms of the rate before solving this question. Okay, so let's get familiar. Oh, it's not here. I need to make one section. Okay, that's fine. So at first let us know what is meant by rate. Okay, so rate is simply, it is the change in concentration per unit time. Okay, per unit time, it is the change in concentration. This simply means the change in concentration per unit time. Okay, this is per unit time. So rate is simply, it is the change in concentration per unit time. That's totally fine. So let us now know what is meant by uh, order of reaction. Okay, so order of particular reaction, what does this mean? So it is the number of particles of a particular, sorry, not particle, particular, I have written particles twice, that's awkward. Particles of a particular uh, reactant, including involving up to, or and, sorry, it should be and, it should be and, involving up to and including RDS. Okay, including RDS. So what does RDS means rate determining step. Okay. So what does this particular rate determining step means? Determining step, rate determining step. So rate determining step is it is the slowest step. It is the slowest step of a multi-step mechanism. Okay. So it is the slowest step of a multi-step mechanism. So what does this multi-step mechanism means? So well, you know that a reaction can uh, a reaction can proceed by two or more steps. Okay, a reaction can be carried out in one step, or it can be carried out in two or more steps. Okay, so from a reaction which have steps more than one, more than two. Okay, so there are many steps is involved. So the slowest step of those multi-step is called the rate determining step. Okay, so this is it. So now let us look at rate equation. So it is what does this rate equation is? So it is the relation, sorry, it is the relation between the rate and concentration. Okay, so we will look at the rate equation uh, right now. Okay, let's look what does this rate equation is. Where is it? Where is it? Oh. So so in here we need to build the rate equation for this reaction, for this particular reaction. Okay, so let us uh, well let me write for this for a while. Okay, so rate equation looks something like this. Rate equation, rate is equals to some over constant k and a to the power m, this is not n, a to the power m multiplied by b to the power m. Okay, so where a and b are reactants, and this first and this third bracket, sorry, this third bracket is concentration. This is concentration, that's fine. This is products, sorry, extremely sorry, this is reactant. Damn, I have made many mistakes in this video tutorial, and I'm really sorry for that, fellas. Please understand me. I know, fellas, that I made any I really make many mistakes, but still you support me. You appreciate my video tutorial, and that's a lot, fellas. That's that's mean a lot. Okay, that's mean a lot to me, fellas. So by the way, so these A and B are reactants. Okay, and they are raised to appropriate powers, which are order. So what does this order actually means? Where, so what does this actually mean? M and N. So M is equals to order of A, and N is equals to order of B. Order of B. Okay. So now let us construct the rate equation for this particular reaction using this, utilizing this data given. Okay. Well, at first let us look at the mark distribution for this. I always lost my pen. Okay, So let's see the mark distribution for this question. Okay, so in here, where should I write? I think I need a new page for that. Okay, whatever. So here, as you can see, uh, at first let us read the question. Okay, this reaction is first order with respect to bromate 5. State with reasons including appropriate experiment numbers, the order of reaction with respect to H plus ion and bromide ion. If we have noticed that these things are for reactants, these are not for products, so we will find the order of reaction is always meant for reactants. So the orders are for reactants. Okay, so since they are involved in the reaction, they react to form products, so they will have the order of reactions, not the products. Okay, fellas, so now let us look at the mark distribution for this question. Okay, well, I didn't, do I read the question? Well, let us read the question once again. This reaction is first order with respect to bromate 5. State with reasons including appropriate experiment numbers the order of reaction with respect to this. Okay, so now let us break this question into some parts, into small parts. Okay, so first, the information is given for bromate 5. The order of reaction of bromate 5 is first order. That's fine. That's totally fine. State. They want us to state with reasons, including appropriate experiment numbers, the order of reaction. The order of reaction with respect to the following. So these are the main thing. First, they have asked us to state, and then with reasons including appropriate experiment numbers. Okay, and the last thing they want us to find the order of reaction of the following components of the reactor. Okay, so now at first, before solving this question, at first let us have a look on the mark distribution of this question. Okay, so first we will go for H plus. Well, uh, let me write this in black pen. Okay, so here is the first mark 1. Okay, so mark 1, in mark 1 what we need to mention, let us see. So in mark 1, mentioning about experiment that we are comparing, not company, comparing, mentioning about the experiment that we are comparing, so we should mention about experiments. So mention about experiments, experiment number. Okay, and let us have a look on the second point for mark 1, that is explaining the relation between H plus and the rate, mentioning about keeping other constant. So we should explain the relationship between H plus, concentration of H plus, relation between, not between. So mentioning the relation between uh, H plus and rate, relation between H plus and rate, while keeping other things constant, keeping bromate 5 and uh, which one, bromate 5 and bromide, sorry, yes, bromate 5 and bromide constant. Okay, keeping other things constant. Okay, So that's it for mark 1. So if we mention these things, we will get first mark. Okay, first mark for for interpreting these points. And now let us move on to the second mark. Okay, second mark, mark 2, whatever, second mark 2. So for mark 2, we need to mention about the order of H plus. It might look silly, but still, I just want to break it small parts. It looks really easy if we break these things into small parts. Since this question require ordering, uh, they they always want us to answer this question in a particular arrangement, in a, what can I say, in a uh, what in an appropriate order. We need to answer this question, so that's why it might be helpful if we break this whole thing into small parts. So that is what we are doing here. Okay, so in here, mentioning the order of H plus, we will gain the second mark. Okay, so now let us move on to the other thing. Where it is, where it is, where it is, where it is. That's fine. All right. Red pen, where you are? Here you are. Now we gonna discuss about bromide. Okay, the order of bromide. As you can see that the total mark for H plus is 2. Okay, so total mark is 2 for defining the order of H plus. Okay, okay, that's fine. Totally fine. Okay, so let us discuss about the third mark. At first, let me change the color. Okay, mark 3. So which should be the third mark for this? So which we should mention? Let us see. Here are the points. Mention about the experiment that we are comparing. So again, we should mention about the experiment. Okay. So most of the students don't mention about the experiment number that they are comparing. So for that, they always lose on 1 mark. Okay, so it is wise to mention the experiment that you are comparing. That's it. Mention about the experiment number. This is the simplest thing. So if you accomplished this condition, then it is obvious that you will achieve the full mark for this question. So if you cover this all points that we will discuss here, then you will achieve the full mark for this question. And that's the objective of this tutorial, that how to answer this question precisely. Okay, so mention about the experiment number that we are comparing. This is the first point for mark 3 that we are comparing. What should be the second point? Explaining how bromide is increased. So we should explain how bromide is increased. This is how we should explain how bromide is increased. Okay, and now we should also explain how bromate BrO3 minus is increased. Bromate 5 is increased. Okay, then this is the whole point that whole points for mark 3. These are the 3 points. If we cover these 3 points, then we gonna secure mark 3. Okay, third mark. We're gonna get third mark. Yahoo.com. Well, by the way, I'm not sponsoring Yahoo. I'm always with Google. Google is my best friend. Okay, fellas. You know why. Well, now let us move on to the fourth mark. Here is the fourth mark. The relationship between the rate and relationship between rate and bromide and bromate. So we should discuss the relationship. Okay, relationship. The relationship between bromate rate with rate and bromide bromide Br minus and bromate 5. Okay, so how the rate is affected if we change the concentration of bromide and bromate. Okay, so here is the final mark. Oof. Oh, ah, we would be free. We would be free from this whole thing. Okay, stating the final mark for this is for stating the order of bromide. As you all know, you know, right? Stating the order of bromide, as you all already know. Okay, so now let us answer this question. So we have mentioned about the points. So let us again discuss about the points. Okay, the first mark is for mentioning about experiment numbers that we are comparing, relation between H plus and rate. Okay, the uh, second mark, for the second mark we should mention the order of H plus. So total mark for H plus is 2. Here is the third mark, mention about the experiment number that we are comparing, explain how bromide is increased, explain how bromate 5 is increased. Okay, so the relationship for the fourth mark, mark 4, we should explain the relationship between rate, bromate and bromide. Okay, bromate 5 and bromide. Relationship between rate and bromate 5 and bromide. Okay, so for the fifth mark state we should state the order of bromide. Okay, so for the total mark for this question is for this part bromide, sorry, for particularly bromide is 3. Total mark is 3. Okay, so 2 plus 3 is 5, as you can see. Let us discuss this question quickly, since the video is getting bigger and you are starting to get bored. I know, fellas, you are bored. Chemistry is pretty boring, right? Yeah, I know, fellas, I know your pain. So now let us solve this question. Okay, so now at first let us compare which thing, experiment 1 and 2. Let us compare, at first let us compare experiment 1 and 2. Okay, experiment 1 and 2. So in experiment 1 and 2, bromate ion is kept constant. Okay, bromate 5 is kept constant, concentration are kept constant. Here the bromide is kept constant, but the H plus ion is been doubled. Okay, since this is doubled, and we can see that this is also become the initial rate also becomes 4th time. It nearly becomes 4th times. Okay, so the so the order for uh, stating with reasons including appropriate experiment numbers. Okay, so we should uh, write the experiment number. So let us write like this: comparing experiment 1 and 2, first and second. Okay, so in here let us mention it clearly: bromate minus and bromide is kept constant. We should mention this. Okay, kept constant. Concentration of bromate and bromide kept constant. Okay, but uh, concentration of H plus, this is H plus hydrogen ion, are doubled. Sorry, are doubled. Since it is doubled, and the rate becomes, and the rate increased. Okay, and the rate increased uh, by the factor 2 to the power 1. Okay, so the order of H plus ion is 1. That's it. As you can see that I have said many unnecessary things, I do believe, for this simple thing. Well fellas, I just want to make this thing clear. So for that I need to say many things regarding this problem. Okay, so that is why the video is getting taller and taller, longer and longer. Okay, by the way, so let's get back to the topic. So here, comparing experiment 1 and 2, bromate 5 and bromide are kept constant, but H plus ion are doubled. By increasing H plus ion by factor to the power 1, the rate also increases by the factor to the, to the power 2. That is, the rate is 4 times. As you can see, the rate is 4 times. Aha, I have made a mistake over here. My bad. Here the rate is 4 times. Sorry. 2 to the power 4, which is 4. Okay. 4, not 2. So here the H plus ion is doubled and the rate is also increased by the factor 4. So we can say that the order for H plus is 2, not 4. Damn, I'm making so many mistakes. Now it is correct. So comparing 1 and 2 experiment, bromate 5 and bromide are kept constant, but H plus ion are doubled by increasing the H plus ion by factor 2. So the H plus ion are doubled and the rate also increase um, by 4 times. Okay, the rate is increased by 4. So the order for H plus is 2. Okay, so most of the student makes mistake over here. So this is it. So let us read the question once again. Now I have written it in correct order. Okay, comparing experiment 1 and 2, bromate 5, bromate 5 and bromide kept constant, but H plus ion are doubled and the rate increased by the factor of 4. So the order of H plus is 2. Okay, that's totally fine. Now let us move on to the next thing, bromide. Well, let us write comparing, we just write it, comparing experiment. Now let us compare experiment 1 and 3, then we can see. Here let me use another pen. So here we gonna compare experiment 1 and 3. So if we compare experiment 1 and 3, here the bromate is been doubled 2 times, and here concentration of bromate 5 is doubled 2 times. Here the concentration of bromide is double 3 times. It's been increased. Sorry, it is not doubled. My bad. So in here, as we can see that this is tripled. Okay, so the concentration of bromate 5 is tripled over here, and in here the concentration of bromide is been doubled. So the concentration here we can see that it has increased 6 times. Yeah, 6 times. So as we can see that the order for bromate 5, which is already explained here, is first order, and bromide here is first order, not second order. That's because the power is 1. So the order is determined by the power of the factors, okay, not the factors. So we should not answer according to the factors. It doesn't matter whether it is tripled or doubled. The only thing here is the only matter here is the only thing that matter is the power. Since the power is 1, so the order for bromate 5 is 1, and the order for bromide is 1, and as a result the initial also increases 6 times, as we can see. Now let us write this down. Okay, and the video is getting longer and longer. I'm really sorry for that, fellas. I just want to explain in every details regarding this problem. I know that most of the fellas get troubles while answering this question, so that is why the video is getting longer. I know, fellas, I know your pain. It's really hard to listen all these things. Comparing experiment 1 and 3. Okay, now we will compare experiment 1 and 3. So here now H plus ion is being constant, the concentration of H plus ion is constant. Okay, and we know the order of bromate Bro3 minus is 1. Okay, so is 1. So here the concentration of Bro3 minus, can't even write this thing, this peculiar thing. Concentration of bromate is increased by factor. How much it was increased? Bromate 3, factor 3. So it was increased by the factor 3, and the concentration of bromide was increased by factor is increased by factor 2. Okay, so as a result the rate increases by the factor factory factor just kidding, increased so the rate, so the rate increases by the factor 6. Okay, so in here we can see that here the power represent the order of each reactant. So the order of bromate is 1, bromate 5 is 1, and the order of bromide is 1. Okay, so the order of bromide, not bromate, is 1. Okay, so the order of bromide is 1. Okay, so that's it. Okay, so let us now again once again uh, repeat this thing. So now, comparing experiment 1 and 3, we have compared experiment 1 and 3. Okay, so here H plus ion is kept constant. Here the H plus ion is kept constant, as we can see. Concentration of H plus ion is kept constant. We know that the order of bromate 5 is 1. Okay, so in here bromate 5 is increased by 3 factor, and the bromide is increased by 2 factor. Okay, so as a result we can see that the initial rate is increased by 6 factors. So the bromide ion will have the first order. Okay, so the order of bromide ion, bromide, this particular bromide ion will have first order. Okay, so that's it. That's the solution to this question. So well, that's the end of this video tutorial, and the video tutorial was pretty lengthy. I know your pain, fellas, but still I need to um, I need to make it longer. Uh, that's because I need to explain each and every details about about this problem, since most of the student faces problem in this question. As you can see that this is the total mark for this question is 5 marks, and we need to deal with it. Okay, well fellas, I don't want to talk anymore any further, so I will put the similar solution. I will do. Okay fellas, in the next tutorial we're gonna solve the second part of this question, that is A2. We're gonna solve this question, right? We're gonna write the equation, rate equation for this reaction. Okay, so till then, stay awesome, best of luck, signing out.